Everybody was saying, well, the team was going to go down. I think the players' pride were hurt because we have a lot of individual talent, great players, and they don't get any respect before. So now they have something to prove. And they came together as a team. The effort was there, and they did a fantastic job.
When you talk about Hakeem Olajuwon, you're talking about greatness, an all-time master of basketball who dominated with unmatched footwork and skill, a two-time NBA champion, league MVP, two-time Defensive Player of the Year, and widely regarded as having the best post moves ever. Hakeem redefined what it meant to be a big man in basketball. But even the greatest players have opponents who force them to elevate their game. Let's dive into 6 legends who the Dream himself recognized for their battles during his storied career. Patrick Ewing, the rugged rival. When you think of Patrick Ewing, you think of a warrior, a player who went into every battle ready to dominate and impose his will. Hakeem often spoke of Patrick as one of his toughest opponents, describing him as a player who brought unmatched energy and physicality to the court. Patrick played the game with force and heart, Hakeem said during an interview. Every time I faced him, I had to step my game up. He was a true competitor. As the centerpiece of the New York Knicks and a Hall of Fame center, Patrick was known for his intense presence in the paint, blocking shots with precision, crashing the boards with authority, and fighting for every inch of the court. His battles against Hakeem turned every matchup into a test of strength, skill, and determination. One showdown that stands out is the iconic 1994 NBA Finals, the ultimate stage where Hakeem's Rockets triumphed over Patrick's Knicks after a brutal 7-game series. For every drop step, fadeaway, or dream shake Hakeem pulled off, Patrick countered with relentless defense, tough rebounds, and fearless leadership. Patrick never let up, Hakeem recalled. He was always there fighting and making sure his team stayed in the game. He played with grit and determination that made you respect him. What made Ewing so challenging, according to Hakeem, was his rare combination of size, strength, and versatility. Patrick had timing on defense like no one else. He could step up on offense and score with smooth post moves, but also use sheer power to dominate physically, Hakeem explained. But beyond basketball, there was respect. Hakeem cherished the competitive fire Ewing brought and credited him for pushing him to new heights. Guys like Patrick made me who I am. He challenged me to be the best version of myself every time we faced each other, Hakeem said with admiration. The rivalry symbolizes the beauty of two unstoppable forces colliding, an undeniable part of 1990s basketball history.
Yeah.
All right. Toughest matchup for you during your NBA career?
Hakeem Olajuwon.
How come? Just so athletic?
Athletic, quick, the dream shake.
David Robinson, the Admiral of Athleticism. Famously known as the Admiral, he was one of the most electrifying big men of Hakeem's time. With unmatched speed, agility, and sheer power, Robinson was the perfect combination of athleticism and skill, a true nightmare to go up against. Hakeem himself said, David was a physical specimen who could do it all. He was one of the toughest players to guard and outmaneuver. Their rivalry reached its dramatic peak in the 1995 Western Conference Finals, a series that still sends chills down the spines of basketball fans. Robinson had just been named league MVP that season, deserving accolade for his jaw-dropping dominance on the court. But when he faced Hakeem's Rockets, he got more than he bargained for. Hakeem was on a mission, delivering one of the best playoff performances in NBA history, averaging an unbelievable 35 points per game in the series. David had all the tools. He could defend, score, and move across the floor like no other big man, Hakeem once reflected on his legendary opponent. Each contest was more than just basketball. It was a battle of wits and execution, a showcase of two players redefining what it meant to be a center in the NBA. Off the court, the respect between the two was just as strong as their battles on it. Hakeem admired Robinson's humility and leadership, calling him one of the classiest players I've ever faced. Robinson wasn't one to trash talk or stir drama. He let his game speak for itself, and that made him even more admirable in Hakeem's eyes. He taught me how to push myself mentally and physically, Hakeem admitted. For fans lucky enough to witness their clashes, it was a gift of basketball poetry in motion. Moses Malone, the mentor challenger. Moses was a mentor who shaped his career from the very beginning. When Hakeem entered the NBA as a raw talent with enormous potential, it was Moses who introduced him to the realities of professional basketball. Moses taught me toughness, Hakeem recalled in an interview. When I first came into the league, he showed me what it meant to compete. He didn't go easy on me. but that's how I grew. Malone wasn't just any mentor. He was a three-time MVP, known as one of the basketball's greatest rebounders and fiercest competitors. Facing him was like staring down a force of nature. Malone's relentless style forced Olajuwon to step up his game both in practice and during live matchups. The battles in the post were intense, physically grueling, and downright strategic. Malone's combination of power and craftiness made him an unrelenting challenge. But for Hakeem, each encounter was an opportunity to learn. These weren't lessons taught in classrooms. They were earned through bruises, sweat, and effort. While Malone's dominance on the court was undeniable, what Hakeem appreciated most was his mentorship off it. He pushed Hakeem to match his intensity, and more importantly, taught him to prepare mentally for the demands of an elite career. Shaquille O'Neal, the force of nature. Hakeem knew what he was up against every time he stepped onto the court with Shaq. Shaq wasn't just big. He was a mountain. No one could match his pure physical dominance, Hakeem once reflected. The younger O'Neal entered the league like a wrecking ball, using his massive frame, unmatched power, and intimidating style to bully his way to the rim. For Hakeem, going against him was a challenge unlike any other. You couldn't merely outplay Shaq. You had to outthink him, stay disciplined, and be ready for the next play, Hakeem explained. Their legendary showdown in the 1995 NBA Finals cemented both players' legacies. While Hakeem's Rockets swept Shaq's Magic to claim their second championship in a row, the series wasn't as easy as the results might suggest. Shaq made his presence felt in every game and putting constant pressure on Hakeem's defense. Despite dominating the series, Hakeem had nothing but praise for his young rival. He was unstoppable at times. You couldn't move him. You couldn't slow him down. Shaq's sheer power forced Olajuwon to go deeper into his toolkit, countering brute strength with finesse, footwork, and patience. I had to use my experience and all the moves I had perfected over the years just to find a way to compete, Hakeem said. The clash of styles is what made the battles so captivating. Shaq overpowering his way to dunks and rebounds, while Hakeem dazzled with spin moves and feathery touch around the basket. Fans were treated to a collision of generational talents, showcasing basketball at its peak. Off the court, Hakeem admired Shaq's passion for the game and his larger-than-life personality. Shaq's energy was something you could feel. It wasn't just his play, but the way he carried himself that made him special, Hakeem shared. The mutual respect between the two was undeniable, even as they competed at the highest level. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the Sky Hook King. When Hakeem spoke of Kareem, it was with absolute reverence. Kareem was perfection. The Sky Hook was unstoppable, he once said, cementing Kareem's place not just as an opponent, but as a figure of inspiration. Their battles were brief due to the overlap of their careers. Each matchup left a lasting impression on Hakeem. Kareem wasn't just a player, he was an institution. As the NBA's all-time leading scorer and owner of 6 league MVPs and 6 championships, Kareem towered over the competition both literally and figuratively. The iconic skyhook, a move no defender ever truly solved, was more than a signature shot. It was a symbol of dominance and poise. For Hakeem, guarding that shot meant defending not just brilliance, but artistry. Trying to stop the skyhook was like trying to block poetry. It was impossible, Hakeem remarked. But Kareem was a master of fundamentals and controlled pacing. Hakeem learned these lessons firsthand, saying, "Kareem's intelligence and calm approach forced me to think more strategically on defense. Every possession against him was a mental test. Kareem could dictate the tempo like a chess grandmaster, slowing the game down to his rhythm while keeping opponents constantly guessing." Beyond the court, Hakeem admired Kareem's wisdom and influence as a player and a person. In rare post-game conversations and interviews, Hakeem noted how Kareem carried himself with unmatched grace, embodying greatness on and off the hardwood. "Whenever I got the chance to talk with him, I gained something meaningful," Hakeem admitted. These moments weren't just about tactics, but about perspective. How to approach the game with humility and patience, how to be a competitor and a leader. Charles Barkley, the undersized dynamo. He was smaller than most giants roaming the paint, but don't let the size fool you. His ferocity made him one of Hakeem's most challenging opponents. Charles played like he was 7 feet tall. He attacked you, and he didn't back down, Hakeem once said of the Hall of Fame forward. Barkley wasn't just talented, he was relentless, playing with an energy that felt limitless on the court. What Barkley lacked in height, he made up for with unparalleled strength, light-footed speed, and a relentless aggression that kept defenders guessing and gasping for air. Hakeem admired Barkley's ability to grab rebounds and score from virtually anywhere on the court, despite being at a noticeable size disadvantage. Charles was unpredictable. You never knew where he'd strike next, Hakeem recalled. Barkley's trash talk and colorful personality weren't just entertainment. They were weapons, psychological tools to throw opponents off their game. Yet, Hakeem never let that shake him. Instead, he embraced the challenge with passion. Off the court, their respect for one another was undeniable. Hakeem valued Barkley's spirit and competitive streak, calling him a force of nature. Beyond the game's mechanics, their encounters were a clash of personalities and skills, embodying intensity, energy, and pure showmanship. Facing Barkley wasn't just about outscoring or outdefending, it was about matching his emotional and physical tempo. And while Olajuwon often won the battles, Barkley always made him earn it. Each of these 6 legends brought something unique to the table, challenging Hakeem Olajuwon and leaving a lasting impact on his remarkable career. Hakeem's respect for his toughest opponents shows why he stands among the all-time greats, embodying sportsmanship at the highest level. And as fans, we're lucky to witness what happens when legends collide to create magic on the court. Do you guys think Hakeem was overrated? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. All right, that's all for today. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.